Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to because we know that when we run this code, even though we did get an error, and we're able to make sure that the player 1 doesn't play where player 2 has played or where has been occupied already, but we still moves on to that of player 2 turn to play, which in our case we want the player 1 to make sure that the player 1 make sure the player 1 plays that somewhere else before he moves on to the next player, because there's no way, because you have player 1 or player 2 have played some in positions 2, and then player 1 can no longer, since player 1 can no longer play there, so once player 1 decides to play in position 2, I'll tell player 1 no, you can't play in position 2, then to now go back to player 2, no, which in our case is not, it's in any type of game, it doesn't make sense. So we need to make sure always that once the player where the player 1 is going to play, even though it's not occupied, we want to make sure that the player 1 plays somewhere else. We need to force the player 1 to play somewhere else. And how do we do that? We can put this entire block of code into what is called a while loop. I've talked about while loop on my previous video. Just make sure to check it out. How do we do that? Just while true. I talked about what is loop. What exactly is while loop? This is for while loop to run, a condition must be here, and that condition must be true. That's why I just set the true there, so we don't need to set other conditions there too. So you just have to put all this inside it, just control and then hit the tab. Let's set this in back. Okay, it's still set to 0, so okay, let's run this. Let's say it prompts me to select player 1 to select between x or 0. Let's say I selected x, and then player 1 you are x and player 2 you are o. Meanwhile, let's say player 2, assume that player 2 have played here, so player 1 your turn, choose where you want to. Let's say we know that here is 6, so let's select 6. You can see it said player where else, player 1 your turn, so it didn't go to that of player 2. If we don't put this while loop like on our previous video, if we don't put this while loop here, it is going to go to the next because he's done executing that line of that block of code to move on to this of our player 2, which in our case we want the player 1 to play, at least to play somewhere else. There's still a space, so if I keep on entering that 6, keep on telling me play somewhere else, so let's say I enter somewhere else, something like maybe I enter position 7. Okay, player 1 your turn. Okay, there's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, okay. No, there's no problem. The reason why this keep on happening is that we don't have a condition here. We don't have any condition here. We don't have any condition in our script. We don't have any condition in our script, because here, even though we're to play somewhere that nobody has played, this while true doesn't stop. It keep on iterating, keep on running. Keep on running and running and running to have to make a condition that can make the while loop to break. And how can we do that? We can think of a way to achieve this. We can say in a situation whereby what the player 1 is greater than 0 and that of is less than 10, because we know we're expecting the range of number from 1 to 9. So if it's less than 10 and then is this thing, is greater than 0, and it's going to be inside this if condition, because if it's not inside this condition, even though the player 1 has played, player 2 or player 1 has played there already, it's still going to break this our while loop. So it's going to be inside there. And how do we do that? We can say if what the player 1 played is greater than 0 and what the player 1 played is less than 10. See, once this condition is being met, we are going to break this loop. When we talk about this breaking of this loop, we're talking about breaking this while loop, here. So let's run and see that. I want to print out the board each time I run this while loop run. Let me print out the board here. Let me extend this a little bit. Let me close this. Let me run it again. So to prompt player 1, select between x or o. I selected that of x. Now see player 1 you are x and player 2 you have 0. So player 1 your turn. Choose where you want to play between 1 to 9. Let's enter something like 0. Okay, it's going to, you can see player 1 your turn. Choose where you want to play from 1 to 9 because we will specify the particular range. Let's say I want to play here that player 2 has played. Let's say I put 6. Can see it's going to prompt me player 1. It's your turn. Choose where you want to play from 1 to 9. And that's let's say something like 7. We know that 7 is this place. So I set 7. You can see now position 7 got changed to X. You can see how simple it was for us to achieve this. So you can then move to that of player 2 turn. So that's basically what I want us to do in this video. And you can see in this situation where I've handled and that of player 1 was successfully handled for that of player 1. All we have to do now is just to copy this our code and then shift it to this of our player 2 because they are not going to be much different. Only just the variables is going to change a little bit, and that's what we'll be doing in our next video. So this should be the end for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to subscribe. You can also like. So I'll be happy to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.